do you keep on losing the ball after you receive out of the air? Well, let's go ahead and fix that. Okay, to start off the video, we are going to be using the wall quite a lot, and I've got some cones to demonstrate what might happen after you receive out of the air. Now, one problem you might face in the game is after you receive the pass out of the air, and because we're quite static, our second action, which might be a dribble, pass, whatever it might be, comes too late. And this is why you keep on losing the ball or just run into the player. So what we want to do is how to receive the ball and get out as quick as we can. So let's go ahead and use our friendly hands like this and just work on receiving out of the air. Now, of course, you can use your feet or juggle a few times and hit it up against the wall, then you control. However, just for the sake of our demonstration of this video, I'm going to be using my hands or just one touch into the wall. The problem is, after you control, you tend to be, that tends to happen, or you tend to be stopped. Instead of bringing the ball down straight, what we can do is using a directional first touch to pull away from the pressure to get into either side of the new space, or taking the first touch and using the second action as quick as we can to get out. So take a look. The first option is going to be using my first touch to get out. So in this case, we did a little spin as we were doing our wedge control. So as the ball is coming, I quickly calculate where the ball is going to be bouncing. And as the ball is bouncing, I'm just wrapping my foot around and make sure that this is an angle because we want to get on top of the ball. And from there, we're kind of wrapping it around to make sure that ball comes out nicely to the either side. Now we'll be working on different types of techniques to get out. First one is going to be our wedge control using different surfaces. Then we'll be moving out of the air, which can be different surfaces such as inside, top of the foot, thigh, chest, maybe even headers, who knows. So let's start with our wedge. First one is going to be our sole. Now it's quite difficult to get out as a directional first touch with the sole if our body is facing where the ball is coming from. So what we are going to do in this case is, as soon as we take the first touch, we'll be taking our second action as quick as we can. Easy way or simple way. Oh, that's why we lose the ball, because it just ran away from me. So let's try and kill it as much as we can. So notice how I got my heel down, toes up, and by getting on top of the foot, we do our wedge control. And as soon as I take it, I am taking that step to get out. And that's going to help you to quickly, explosively get out of the situation. Another kind of cunning way to maneuver this is to actually pull the ball towards you. And this is going to be quite important because we're working on how to create or how to run away where the ball is coming from, the direction where the ball is coming from. So if we can be good enough to actually make more separation on the first touch, even better. So take a look. So quite unconventional and ugly technique, but it can be useful. It can work. What I did then was obviously, firstly, finding out where the ball is going to bounce, and I'm using my hips and shoulders to get out and take the ball with me. And again, we want to calculate where the ball is going to bounce because we want to make sure we are precise with our contact. And you just want to slap the ball with your toes down, heel up. As it touches the ground, we just want to slap the ball and turn around. The second is going to be our inside wedge. We can kill the ball and then get out, or we can turn and then get out the other way, depending on which direction you're trying to go. If I'm trying to get out to my left, I just might either use my left or kill the ball on the wedge and then take the second touch out to go to my left. If I want to go to my right, I just might use my right side, just wrap around and exit to my right side. I'll show you both. So as you just saw, wedge control to go out to my right. Make sure that ball is away from me, so that way when I reach for it, my leg is nicely extended, and from there, I am wrapping the ball around. So notice the difference. When I'm trying to take 2 touches to get out, my first touch, the wedge, is to actually kill the ball as safely as I can, so that way my second touch can come as quick as possible. So far, we have used a wedge sole control and inside. The differences on even those 2 techniques is when I use my sole, my body was facing straight where the ball is coming from. However, when I was trying to use my inside, I actually turned my body half turn, so that way the ball can travel across my body, and therefore I can extend my foot to wrap the ball around my body. And outside is quite similar. Instead of facing the ball directly and trying to take the touch there, we are going to keep our body halfway turned and exit on the first touch. Now obviously, if I'm trying to use my right foot should probably meet the ball first compared to my left. And if I want to use my left outside, make sure your left foot is pointing to the ball. So notice how I just made that mistake. And that's because the ball was coming to my left and I'm trying to use my left outside. It's more convenient, or you'll have more success to turn with the outside. If the ball is coming to the left, use your right foot. If the ball is coming to your right, use your left. And that's because if the ball is outside of my body already, there's nothing really catching the ball from behind, or in this case, even more forward. If you try and catch the ball from the side, you're more likely to have that happening where the ball completely misses your foot, or you completely miss the ball. Okay, those are simple inside, outside, sole wedge control. However, here's the bonus, creef. A great way to show your body one side and go the other way. Next one is a straight out from the air. We just might not have that time for the ball to be dropped because maybe the defender's coming in too quick for that, or we just want to get moving quicker than just simply waiting for the ball to bounce and then go. The technique we're going to be covering is inside, laces, or on top of the foot, and also thigh and chest. So here's the inside. Now the problem we see with this technique, a lot of times, yes, you can bring the ball down nice, but the problem is the ball is dead. Yes, you can take your second touch quicker. However, let me show you a different way to receive. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but this is a different tool you might be able to use, which is to pull the ball back as you receive. And by making this opening of the hip motion, you get to drag that ball even more, creating separation away from the pressure. Right? Notice how that ball travels backwards as I turn my hips. So here we go. 1, pop, and touch. Touch, pop, oh, that was poor. And now I would say with this technique, just focus on receiving, opening, getting your body across to block off that pressure. Okay, so the next one is going to be top of the foot. Now it's quite important to understand that we're not necessarily using our instep, the knuckle of the foot, to control the ball, because it's quite hard and the ball might bounce out or off your foot. So what do we use? We want to be using our tip of the toes, and we want to make sure our foot shape is almost like a hook. So heels down, toes are up, so that way I can bring it back. Let's go. And same thing, as you control the ball, just turn your hips. Our next one is going to be our thighs. The common inefficiency I see with this technique is a player raising the knee too much. And because of this, my thigh gets too hard and the ball bounces up. We want to avoid that. We want to minimize the time that the ball spends in the air to make sure our second action comes as quick as possible. And if you're approaching the ball kind of in an angle, you just might be able to open it. However, my angle is going to be rather straight. So what we're going to do is control and take the second action to get away from the pressure. Wow. And by keeping the ball close to us, that the pressure, when it comes, I can even shield it if I want. So the little tip for this is going to be not raising it too much, just letting the ball come to me and maybe only raising about this much. Ooh. So in this one, the ball hit my lower half of the body or lower half of the thigh, and that's not necessarily good because it's a smaller surface compared to my upper half, and also it's harder than my upper half. And that's why the ball bounced out. So those were our thighs. Next one is going to be our chest. There's two ways to do it. Again, can you turn your chest on the first touch to get into the new space with the first touch? Or are you going to just control it as it comes, get your body in between and take the second touch to get out? And if the ball's coming at you at really high pace, you might even tilt it backwards to send the ball behind. And of course, you would only do that if you know you have a plenty of space on the other side. I'm not sure if you were able to see it. Notice how, as that ball popped up, my body was already trying to gain some speed and the momentum. So you could see my body shifting into the space, but my feet are kind of waiting. And therefore my touch became almost a drag rather than kicking it forward. Sadly, I'm absolutely tired from hitting the ball against the wall 1,000 times just to get the chest right. Unfortunately, there's no head, but if you want to see it, leave a comment. And please make sure to work on your fundamentals because fundamentals power your high performance. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.